How's it going, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about this camping setup. This acts as a sleeping platform along with some drawers and storage. I built it about a year ago and I've been using it on a ton of different camping trips around Oregon. Overall, it works super great, but I'm actually getting really close to doing a full rebuild. Before I tear it all apart, I kind of wanted to do a 1-year update and talk a little bit about what worked, what didn't, and what I plan to change in the version 2 build. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into it. So before I jump into what I like, what I didn't like, I want to talk more about the sleeping platform and what I intended it to be used for. So there were kind of two main reasons that I built this. The first was to provide me with an area to sleep on. My goal was to make it super easy to go out on camping trips and just have an area that is designated for sleeping. The second reason I built this was just to have drawers and storage. Both of these drawers are 6 feet in length. There's so much room in here. I've actually never been on a trip where I was able to fill these drawers. So those were kind of the two main reasons that I built this platform. Just having a sleeping area and then having drawers and storage. Let's go ahead and jump into some of the things I liked, some of the things that worked really well with this setup, and some of the things that maybe weren't the best or I plan to change with the version 2 build. So first of all, let's talk about some of the things I liked with this. Like I said, there is so much storage in these drawers. Both of these drawers pull out to 6 feet in length. On top of that, they are also pretty high. I built these to be about 11 inches in height. Along with just having that 6 feet in length for storage, you also get a pretty good amount of height too with it. Storage was never a problem. That was super awesome. Just to have that peace of mind that you can bring as much gear as you really want. Along with just having all of that storage, this platform has just been super solid for me. I definitely think I overbuilt it, probably used thicker wood and more wood than I ever needed to, but at the same time, that's super nice. I'd rather have that versus the opposite. I've never felt unsafe or nervous climbing around on the top of this, sleeping on this. It's just been a super solid sleeping platform for me. Now, one of my favorite parts about this setup was the balance between drawer storage and still having space in the back of the truck. This was something I spent a lot of time thinking about. I know there are a lot of different options. Some people go with super small drawers, half the size of this or less, to give you lots of space on the inside, while other people go with really big drawers, have a ton of storage and less space on the inside. I thought that this balance worked really well. This platform is about 11 inches in height. It left me with plenty of room for sleeping in the back, but still providing me with a good amount of storage. So having these drawers at 11 inches in height, I think worked perfectly for me. And I think with the version 2 build, I plan to keep the height of the bed platform or drawers pretty similar. Having this bed platform be 6 feet in length was also super nice, not only for the storage, but for sleeping. I'm 5'9" and I never had any issues stretching out and sleeping in the back of this. I know with some setups and different vehicles, you have to sleep at angles or diagonally. Never had to do any of that with the Sequoia. That's one of the nice parts about having a full-size SUV is you get full-size space. It was super awesome to sleep in the back of this. I could fit a nice foam pad and blankets and everything. Having that full 6 feet of sleeping area was super great. Now, one other feature I added, which was super easy, super cheap, and I think made a big difference, was this carpeted fabric that I got from Home Depot. I got 1 or 2 rolls of this for 20 or 30 bucks. It was super cheap, and I just used a staple gun to staple it all around the platform. It's held up super well over the past year, and it kind of just gives a nice finishing look versus just having exposed wood. Another thing that worked really well with this setup was these flush drawer handles. These drawers do get really heavy when they are loaded with gear. I'll talk more about that when I start talking about what didn't work and what I plan to change. But even with that weight, these drawer handles never failed on me. It's super awesome because they also sit flush on the back. That means I can close the trunk like normally. And they just provide a super strong and great grip for pulling out the drawers. Now, the last note I wanted to make, I wouldn't say it was an amazing part, but it did work with the setup. And that was just not having any type of sliders. Some of the heavy duty sliders do get really expensive, and I couldn't even find any that pull out to the 6 feet in length. So I opted to just have wood sliding on wood. It does work. When it gets heavy, it does become more of a challenge, but that was something that did work for me. Again, it wasn't maybe my favorite part. It wasn't great, but you definitely don't need sliders for doing a drawer build. So that's a little bit about what I thought worked really well with the setup and what I liked. Let's kind of shift gears and go over to what I didn't like, what wasn't the best, and kind of what I plan to change with this rebuild, with the version 2 setup. So right off the bat, one of the immediate things that I want with the second setup is having more organization. I didn't add any dividers in these drawers, and it definitely gets really messy. Lots of the items that I bring with me camping are kind of loose, smaller individual items, and when you just throw them in the drawer, everything gets mixed around, and it can become really messy really quickly. I definitely want to add some dividers, kind of make smaller compartments, just so that all of these smaller objects that I take with me kind of have a permanent home in an area where they live. Along with just adding in some more organization and storage, I want to add in false tops or counter space. One of the biggest reasons that I wanted to have these drawers was so that I have a kind of work area or space for cooking. Without having false tops, it's really hard. I actually did most of my cooking either on picnic tables or just on the ground. Not having a flat area or false top just makes it really difficult for cooking. So while having 6 feet in length is super awesome for sleeping and having storage, it doesn't allow you to use the second row seats when the sleeping platform is in the vehicle. That was fine with me at first. At one point I even had the second row seats completely out of this truck. That gave me even more storage in the front. It was super awesome. But with that being said, I kind of want to move towards more of a hybrid setup. Ideally, I find a way with this version 2 build to be able to keep the second row seats, be able to use them like normally, but also still have that 6 feet of sleeping room. I think I plan to do this with some type of drawer system that's just shorter, and then having some type of extension when the seats are flipped forward. When the seats are flipped forward like they are now, you still have over 6 feet in length from the back of the seats to the back of the truck, so there's definitely a way to do it. That will just take some planning and something I'll figure out moving forward. And one of the other things with the drawers being 6 feet, while they do provide so much storage like I've talked about, it is a little bit difficult to reach some of the things that are in the way back. Part of this is because I don't have any sliders too, so I can't pull the drawer all the way out. There's probably about 1 foot to 1.5 feet of area in the back of the drawer that is only accessible by reaching underneath the bed frame. Again, not a huge deal, just something I've noticed. Sometimes all of the gear likes to slide to the back of the drawer, and that can just make it hard at times to grab some of the stuff, especially when it's all just piled in there and there's no like dividers or organization preventing it from just going straight to the farthest point in the back. And probably one of the biggest reasons that I want to completely rebuild this is just in the event that the rear latch breaks. If you have a first gen Sequoia, I'm sure you are well aware of the issue with the rear latch handle. This is a very common problem. The handle breaks and it prevents you from opening the trunk at all. With this setup and how it's built, the only way to access the gear that's in the drawers is with the trunk being open. My handle did break at one point. Fortunately, I didn't have any equipment in the back, so it was fine, but it's still something I think about, still something I worry about. I store lots of my food and equipment and clothes and lots of just important stuff in the back of these drawers, and in the event that that did break, basically there would be no way for me to access anything that's on the inside. With the second setup, I plan to make it accessible from the top. I don't think that should be too difficult to do. It just would be adding some type of hinge or latch system. I want to have a backup way of getting to my gear. Now, with all of that being said, this platform has been super awesome for me. It was really cheap to build and I've used it on so many trips around Oregon down to California. It's been super awesome to have and I love it. There are just a couple areas that I think I can improve and a couple changes I can make, so this setup works perfectly for my needs. I did do full videos and tutorials on the process of building this bed frame, the drawers. They're on my channel. If you're interested, go check them out. But if you have any questions, feel free to message me on Instagram, drop a comment below. I'm always happy to talk and share more about my experiences. So thanks so much for watching. I hope this video was kind of helpful for you guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Any support for my channel really helps me out. Stay tuned. I will definitely be doing videos on the version 2 build here coming soon. And I will see you guys in the next one.